Right on time. Nice one, Paloozer. Welcome in, friends. How are we doing today? Happy Friday. We made it through another week. Yeah, Kimmers was first again. She's going to be lurking today, but she's here with us. She says she hopes everyone has a wonderful day. Cookie, thank you for being here today. How are you? Almost done worky, hopefully? Clem? Best way to start the stream. Thanks, Clem. Holy, 30 months, but 8-month streak. Thank you very much. How are you doing? How's school? Are you almost done? Hi, Ellen. Good to see you. Mish. Mish told me she'd be here, and here she is. Thank you, Mish. Michael, happy belated birthday to you. It was his birthday yesterday, chat, so everyone wish Michael a happy belated. I'm assuming he turned, what, 25 again? Shucks. Hi, Fortitude 2. The best cooking show ever. What? Guys, thank you. Hi, Happy. So many people here today. Holy smokes. I am like feeling 10 times better than I did last week. I don't know what the heck was going on last week. But yeah, getting my life back together this week. I don't think I have really like any stories too much to catch up on. Sam switched over to nights at work, so we haven't really like seen each other or talked too much. Maybe like max 5 hours a day, that's it. Ain't better than nothing though, right? Still better than when he was in Eureka. But that's a little bit of a change for me. So learning to live alone during the day. It's okay though. It's nice to have alone time, right? Self-reflection. You had spaghetti puttanesca tonight? You would have that on a Friday, Mish. For anyone that doesn't know what spaghetti puttanesca is, it is basically like called the like horse spaghetti in Italy, just because of like all the different things it has inside of it. It's always so funny to explain it, but I think everyone should know that, because like you shouldn't be just like saying that word, right? But if you've never had it, it's seriously delicious. You can make it vegetarian, you can put meat in it. It's the best. So good job, Mish. You're getting your degree this year? So you really will eventually be our favorite surgeon? Yes. Duck à l'orange? Of some sort, I suppose. I don't think we've ever made that on stream yet. So yeah. And like this is something, so roommate is home today here with us, and I was saying like this duck is kind of inspired by him, but also I have a lot of oranges in the fridge to use up. But yeah, we would often make like duck confit up at camp, and like that was kind of pushing it for the first bit until people were like, whoa, it's actually delicious duck, because so many people are like weird about duck. They're like, I'm not eating that, that's super weird. But then everyone started liking it, and Wayne would always make it with this really delicious orange sauce. And yeah, just something about duck and orange goes really good together. Or another flavor I really like with duck is sour cherry. But it is citrus season right now, so we might as well use them while they're really good. And I don't know if I just have caracaras in the fridge or not, but we'll see how it turns out. Bob, thank you very much. Love hearing that song. 31 months in a row. Clem at 30, Bob at 31. Where do all these months come from? And where do they go? We don't know. We really don't. Mariposa's working and lurking today. Love it. Well, thank you for being here, friend. Okay, so we got lots of good recipes linked for today. We're gonna do a little bit of butchery because I got a whole duck that we get to play with. So here's our menu going down. So duck breast with orange sauce. So we are going to obviously butcher the duck. We'll get the breast from it. We will score the duck breast and then just pop it in the fridge so it can kind of start to dry out the skin. And that way you get the crispiest skin when you cook it. So there's the first step there. We're also going to take the legs off of the duck, cure them today, and so that we can prepare duck confit this weekend together. I haven't decided yet whether I'm gonna just do it in the oven or get the circulator going. I find it's kind of weird to do the circulator though, because I only have 2 pieces. So we'll see how we feel. So that's what's going down with the duck. If you've never really butchered anything like poultry before, go grab a snack, get a drink, come take a seat. Chicken is very similar as well. So yeah, you can learn a little bit today. Thanks for the hype train too, guys. First thing, Cookie, 799 bitlies, evening it up. And then Mish sets us over 80,001 bits. Thank you for that. We won't tell Annie. Okay, so to go with the duck, I want to make a wild rice pilaf today. So I actually bought wild rice from the store. I don't know, I've been like having a hankering and I've just been really bored of having plain rice. So I picked up some wild rice. Wasn't super expensive. I think it was like $5 for the bag. Which we know rice expands into many, many meals. So I think we'll be okay there. And then as well, I had some squashes to use up from when we bought them on sale. So I have a cute little butternut squash that we can dice up. And I was thinking just serving it simply with like some toasted pumpkin seeds and pomegranate syrup. I thought that'd be so good with the duck, like the pomegranate syrup, the orange sauce, the rice. Just like a very hearty, warming meal for today. Although I will say it's really beautiful outside. We finally see the sun again. So maybe that's what's giving me life. Hi, Chase. Duck fat is the best. Yes, so that's like why we're gonna make the stock from it. So that, yeah, when we strain the stock, you put it in the fridge, take off that layer of duck fat off the top and use that for like so many different things cooking, right? Duck fat roasted potatoes. So delicious. Whale Friday. Misha's slapping people with whales. Hi, Shutterbug. Hi, Dusty. Welcome in. You always thought it was a bit wild. Ha ha. That wild rice isn't actually rice. I guess it depends on the mix. Because, yeah, there was a couple different wild rices to get from the store. I was, like, almost going to just get the Uncle Ben's box of it. But then I was like, holy smokes, is it expensive? I felt like it was really expensive for what you got. Because I think the box of Uncle Ben's was like $4. And that has like, so it gives you the wild rice and like some seasonings in there. So all you have to add is water if you want, but I usually add butter. So we're gonna make something similar to that. But yeah, $4 for like a 1 or 2 servings of wild rice, or we pay $5 for this bag of it. And yeah, I picked up this one. The brand is Floating Leaf, and it's called a wild rice blend. Look at this. Riceberry rice. And then we have a Calrose rice, so we know that's grown in California because Bonk taught us that before. We have a Cow Mun red rice, a long grain brown rice, as well as a wild rice. And that is the thing as well, is every time we would make wild rice for people at work, there would never be leftovers of it. And you always assume this is something that like no one likes to eat. Oh, that's like such like a granola, like socks and sandals thing, right? Wild rice. But when you actually flavor it properly and cook it nice and like serve it with the right thing, like I feel like the strong flavor of the wild rice holds up to stronger flavored proteins like lamb or today duck. So like wild game meats, really good to serve with wild rice. And you can serve wild rice with chicken soup too, right? That's one of the best things ever. But yeah, I picked up this one because honestly, I've never really gotten into wild rice other than, like I said, that easy Uncle Ben's. So let's learn today. And I also liked that it said like the cooking time on the bag, because that's the other one that could maybe throw people off, is they always think wild rice takes a really long time to cook, but it doesn't take that much longer. That was handy, right? Because I was like, isn't this gonna take like 40 minutes to cook, right? Thank you, Shutterbug, for the 100 bitlies. Mish, you can't say that. Imagine frying whale babies. Why? Michael, thank you for the 35 bits. Okay, and that is it, I think. We're all caught up. That's my chats that I got. Oh, and I made some bone broth, some chicken bone broth over over this last day. I picked up a rotisserie chicken from Costco again because they're only $8 compared to, I think you're paying at least $12 for a whole chicken in the store now, and then you have to buy at least 3 to get that price. Yeah, I picked up a rotisserie chicken yesterday, deboned it, took all the meat off of it, and then ended up making 3 liters of like the most delicious looking bone broth ever to drink. I flavored it with peppercorns, bay leaf. What else? I put some kombu in, like some seaweed pieces this time. I've never done that yet. As well, I put in some turmeric, and I saw some other people put like apple cider vinegar in their bone broth, so I put a little bit of that too. And so then like every morning I wake up like usually around 7, I will like pour a cup of that into a container and then dilute it again by like 2, so I end up with like 2 cups of liquid. And I drink that before I eat breakfast or anything. And it's actually been like the most amazing thing ever. I am like seeing a difference in like how my joints and like my body feel. That is what the roommate said. Yeah, that's what Wayne said. Because he got home late, he was visiting his dad yesterday. He's like, when I got home at midnight last night, the smell of the broth was so good. Ugh. It's always like the worst feeling going to bed with something on the stovetop because you have to like get that level of simmering just right. Ugh. But we did it. We did it. So yeah, that cooked for like a full 24 hours, I would say. And I find that you can get, yeah, all of the nutrients and like all of the collagen out in that time. You just have to watch the bones and like make sure all the knuckles and stuff have melted into the liquid. And then you're good. You've burned it before. Yeah, right? It's like, ugh, kind of scary, but also worth it then, right? Okay, I'm just gonna put a couple of these things away that I washed up before. I like to work in a clear space. And then we'll get started. I need my boning knife anyways, so just put that in front of us. That's why you need a slow cooker. I guess that is, yeah, not as scary as having it on the stovetop. I'm just not a slow cooker kind of person. That's just not me. I don't know if that's just like being a chef. But yeah, I've slowly gotten rid of those appliances that I find I don't use as much. And like, I'll just take the time to do it on the stovetop instead. I don't know. Is that like old school? We will be using this frying pan for the duck today. What did everyone else get up to this week? I don't think I have much for like news-wise other than I didn't get a job. And I think I've honestly given up at this point. Sam and I, we had a chat yesterday about the happenings. And like at this point, I think it's actually easier to just get paid by the government and not put the extra wear and tear on the car and just pay them back the taxes later than to literally try and carry on like this. Like that is where we're at in life. And he's like, honestly, it actually makes the most sense. Maybe it's meant to be. That's the other thing I said, Cookie, right? Is like, whenever that happens, I never actually get super upset anymore. It's like, well, obviously the universe is telling me that I shouldn't have worked there anyways, right? So I'm just gonna focus on like growing my YouTube channel, maybe putting out a couple recipe ebooks for you guys. And yeah, this is like me, just time to focus on myself. That's it. No more messing around. We've tried it for so many years, and obviously there's a reason why we keep coming back to this point in life. Full-time streams, we could do that too. I find that during the week it's not very busy on Twitch. And like you guys know, I don't like to waste my time, right? So I've been having a little bit more fun creating like some YouTube stuff during the week as well. But we could always add like one more Twitch day, like a Thursday. I find some people are always home from work. But yeah, you guys let me know what you want to do. I'm home. I'm here. I'm all yours. That is also true, right? It's never a waste doing a cooking stream because you have to eat anyways. It's literally never a waste. Okay, maybe that is something that I'll have to eventually get back into, Goat Farmer Bluesy. Is like, yeah, you're a farmer, you're super busy. So that's why you have the slow cooker, because you ain't got no time to watch that stuff on the stovetop. Whereas like currently in my life, well heck, I'm like home all the time. That gives me something to do. Okay, carrying on, here are the recipes. I'm gonna just make a quick prep list and away we go. I like talking about that stuff and like seeing what works in other people's lives, because we're all living a different life. Yeah, I applied to, like, after I got told I wasn't getting the job, I applied to 9 more jobs in a day. Like, I've already heard back from a couple, and they're like, yeah, we've picked, like, other candidates. That's all I got, chat. Okay, duck. We are going to start with the duck breast. Then we'll take the legs off. And then we'll make our stock. Get that simmering on the stovetop while we keep working. You're a little nervous, Dust. I am thinking very good thoughts for you, dude. Very, very good thoughts. I just can't believe how crazy the job market is. But I was also saying to Sam, I'm being very particular about what I'm looking for, right? If I wanted to go walk into Cactus Club and go be the sous chef that they posted the position to me through Indeed, I'm sure I could walk in there today and they'll be like, yeah, you're freaking hired when they see my resume. But that's not what I want to do. So you can see how difficult it is to like try and make a pivot in your life that is something outside of your knowledge and expertise. And I'm just sharing this in case there are other people struggling out there too. Okay, after we do the duck, I think we'll look into making our rice, because that's probably the next long process, or the rice and the squash will kind of take the same amount of time to cook. Maybe I'll actually get the squash prepped first and onto the pan so that I can go into the oven while we cook the rice. That would be the most efficient. You're not struggling, you gave up years ago. That's literally where I'm at now. It's like, honestly, I just give up. I've given up, I'm good. Sam was like, we only need to make it through like 1 more month of this like pretty difficult time, and then we're like laughing. So whatever, right? What is 1 more month? We all know how fast time goes by. Okay, for our squash, we don't want to forget roasting some pumpkin seeds. That'd be really yummy, crunchy to go with everything. Okay, and then our wild rice. And then one note on the wild rice, I'm kind of taking a little shortcut today. And this is how I've prepped it before in the past. Just I kind of have this pre-done. So I have this mirepoix and garlic kind of, I just called it a soup base. But when I was going to be working out of town and I had all this stuff in the fridge to like cook and use up and I didn't want to throw in the garbage. So I just like shredded onion, carrot, celery, and garlic that I had and just like cooked it slowly in butter for probably like 3 hours until there was like barely any moisture left. This is like a concentrated sort of like flavor base, right? So we're gonna put a couple spoonfuls of this into the wild rice. And actually we are gonna bake the rice in the oven too. So yeah, our squash and our rice is in the oven. And that way we can just focus on the duck breast on the stovetop. Pretty simple. I just pulled the Food Network on you guys. And so I have this. Palooza. Shh. Quiet. And then I was looking through that recipe for the pilaf that I linked. And basically what a pilaf is rice with different flavorings that you can add to it. So you can make it like more savory, like how we're gonna do today, with like the carrot, onion, celery, or you can go more sweet and go like fruits and nuts in there. Like dried cranberries and pecans is what they said in the recipe that I linked. So there's lots of options that you can put in a rice pilaf. You can put as much as you want into it, or you can also keep it like pretty simple, right? An ice cream pilaf, please. You just like put in a scoop of the pilaf over your ice cream, Mish. I'm in. Oh, that is one thing I actually did this week, different that I've never made for myself before, is I made rice pudding. I had a bunch of milk that was like starting to eventually go bad. So I just made some rice pudding, and it's been like the greatest dessert ever. Rice cream. Okay, I'm getting the deco and then we're gonna get started. Let's go to the cutting board, which I also have to go grab one. Oh, and then as we're butchering the duck, kind of just have like a big stock pot beside you to put all the bones and trim into as we're doing it. That's my other tip. Duck, duck, duck. Which I was just gonna reuse the same pot that I had the bone broth in. So I got this on sale. It is raised in Canada. The whole duck was $20, but it's 2.4 kilos of weight, right? And then there's giblets and stuff all in there. So that is why we really try to like prepare it in all of the proper ways so that you can get the most use out of something like this. Just gonna throw these bones out because they were cooling, because I just strained this before stream. Also, if you want to see this, so look at like how clean those chicken bones are, right? There's no knuckles or anything left on there. Like there's barely anything left in the strainer, just like all cooked down to nothing. But yeah, always let that cool before you put it in a garbage can. Otherwise you'll like burn a hole through the bag, and that's definitely a bad mess. DuckTales. Love that show. I've also never put the turmeric in my bone broth before, but I know we were talking about it last week on stream. About it with like inflammation, how it helps. So I'll let you guys know if I notice anything different. I think so far just like having the extra collagen and stuff is helping a lot to like recover quick after my workouts. I find that like often I would get really sore after my workout and not be able to like do it again the next day. Lately, I've been full of energy. It sucks waking up sore all the time. Used to eat a lot of turmeric. Okay, this is probably gonna be like pretty juicy, so we're just gonna open it up in here together first. Who in chat has had duck before? Dust, you love it? That always makes me so happy. Also, I do consider it a challenge when I meet someone that says that they don't like duck. You've only done duck breast though, Cookie. You've never prepared duck confit on your own. Okay, I'm just gonna go over here to this by the sink, because usually there's like some juices that stick around in the carcass. I don't want that to run over my cutting board. You've never had duck before, Happy? Is that just like a personal preference thing or just what is accessible to you? Bro went on a kick using turmeric on chicken and rice and you called it highlighter chicken. I would do the same. I think I have actually said those words before. Okay, there's our cute little duck. So for $20, like I'm gonna get so many meals out of this. You're gonna get 2 duck breasts, 2 duck legs. And to me, like one of each of those is enough protein. So if we think about how much it costs to just go out to a restaurant and order a dish of duck prepared for you, I'm pretty sure if I looked up a local restaurant here, a duck plate would probably be close to like maybe $28 to $32. Well, you got the whole duck for $21. So as long as you know how to prepare it right, you'll really save a lot of money. And yeah, lots of good fat. Like I always start by just trimming off where the neck was. And we can kind of open it up. But this does look good. Good thick fat layer. And then I usually go here next. Because all the giblets. Not all ducks come with giblets. But I will say it's like kind of a bonus. I don't mind paying for it. Because like how long the duck neck is. So much good usable cartilage in that. Like I will say even before like when I worked at the slow food restaurant and we had like lots of extra chicken necks and duck necks, we would roast that. And sometimes when I like wasn't busy, I would pick that and we would use the neck meat for staff meal. Like we wouldn't waste anything, right? Just having some little frosty bits in there. Okay, next up, we'll just trim this up to make it a bit neater. I was actually talking to Mish, a couple weeks ago now when we were talking about the duck confit that they have available to them in Europe. I don't know if it's all over Europe, Mish. Is it just in Denmark? Yeah, there's this girl that I watch on YouTube and they can buy duck confit legs in a can packed in fat. And so all you do is put the whole can in the oven until it's warm. And you take the duck legs out of the fat in the can and fry them in a pan. Was like, are you joking me? Okay, I'm gonna turn this because it's hard for me to deal with it. Amazing, right? I think she said it was $30 for the can of legs confit and you got like 4 or 5 in it. I was like, that is a steal of a deal and we would never find anything like that here in Canada. Okay, so I'm just making a slit down here first. You can open up the skin. She's like, I totally thought that you guys had that in North America too. I was like, no. I wish. Maybe if we went to like a really high-end grocer. Okay, so that's what I was looking for here. Can you guys see? Maybe I should go closer for this. I was looking for the breastbone. So now that I know it's there, just like gently slide your knife along. Kind of like almost do a little sawing motion just so we can get through like the skin and everything at the same time, really gently. And when you get to this point, I usually make a slit down through there as well, just like up top. There is always the wishbone up here too, so be aware of that. It might cause you some issues when you're trying to release the breast up there. Okay, so now all I'm feeling is the cartilage underneath, and we can just go like this a little bit with our hand to release the tender underneath. And we just make like nice controlled movements with your boning knife. I'm gonna turn this now for myself because of the angle here, right? So it's easier to work around the wishbone. So now I'm on the wishbone. I'm just gonna slowly go down with my boning knife until it's basically all released. Keep going down. So that's like the ligament from the tender. Once you hit that, you're like basically in the clear. So far, this duck looks really nice, I have to say. Not like really like gross and bloody. Nothing like that. Okay, so now we are like basically all released from the rib cage and everything. I just need one more slice up that way. Beautiful. Turning it. Actually forgot to do this part first thing. It's been a while since I butchered. You gotta release the leg so that you can get the breast off. Mostly just like cut through the skin for this part. But we'll do this side too while we're over here. I just want to kind of reform this fat from when it was in the bag. That's something cool you could do too. Same with like pork fat, I find you can do that. Okay, I'm gonna turn it again now. So now we have our whole duck breast here, and we are released from our leg. Eric! Thank you very much, dude. 47 months, you're almost at 4 years. And White Dove, thank you. Sounds like I'm gonna be eating good today. We are. I'm excited. So we just hold on to the duck breast and slowly slice along here. Gotta release it from the wing. So this is like the wing knuckle bone. You can see this connective tissue that we will have to trim off. But just keep your duck breast taut. Like I'm kind of pulling at the same time that I'm slicing like this. I'll just slice it there because we don't need too much excess fat. But look at how clean, like I love how clean you can get the duck carcass compared to a chicken. Because the meat's just like a little bit firmer. And there's your beautiful duck breast. If we switch it over, you can see there's a little bit of stuff to clean. But not too much. So now I think I'll just like pop it up here. Maybe we'll do the next one a little bit quicker. Usually try and do the first one slow, so that we get a good understanding. Now we can move all this skin over because we want to keep all that. Get beside your breastbone again. Like that. Slide under to release the tender. I'm gonna go a couple more down this way just to get off of that cartilage. We're always dealing with the wishbone up here. It's like the most annoying part of butchering poultry, I find. He really needs to work on his arms. I don't think this duck took many flights at all. I mean, most of the time we have people skipping leg day, but this guy, he skipped arm day. Like, look at how easy the second one is to butcher after you did the first one. kind of funny. Okay, let's get this wishbone released here. And I will say, like, we're trying to not cut up the meat like this too much, so I did make a mistake. I would judge someone on that butchery cut. But the more often you do it, the better you get, right? Okay, so now it's really easy after this. Really, really easy. We're going to release the legs. Never skip leg day, right, Valk? Either I'm tiny or this is a goose. I must be tiny, Kiwi. Hi, Mickey. How are you doing this week? Release the quacking. I love it. Okay, get through this fat first and skin. Remember, don't nick the leg meat at all. When we get to this point, I kind of turn the carcass because we have to pop the hip bone out. But I find it hard to do until we're like at this perfect point, like this. And now I'll just like kind of hold on to the bone through this. And you'll just do a pop. It didn't really pop too much, but I did see it release right there. And now all we do, cut to the knuckle now, and I'll like put the duck down so that I can just get my knife on the angle here on the side under the hip and then just do one nice cut like that. Pretty nice. A little bit of bruising here, I will say, just on the duck, but once it's confit, we won't really notice that. And yeah, a little bit of feathers as well. Sometimes it's easier to pick those out once the duck is cooked, so I'll probably leave that and then just pick it out before we fry the confit, which I'm sure will be on stream one day. How do I want to do this? Sometimes the wings like get in the way, I feel. If they're causing you too much issues, you can just like cut them off of the carcass, but sometimes they're like also a part to hold on to. Really meaty though. As far as duck goes, like I haven't used too much King Cole brand. I usually get Brome Lake here in Canada. But so far, good quality. Boom, same as the other one. This one's a little bit nicer, you can see. And yeah, for the confit, I'm gonna leave all of this fat on as much as possible, because what confit means as a French cooking term is to cook in fat, specifically to cook in its own fat. So the more of that duck fat we have to use, the better. Now I'm just gonna take these wings off so I can fit the carcass into the stock pot. You might see like duck wings available to buy, but it really depends on the duck that it comes from, because as you can see here, like there might be the same amount of meat on this duck wing as there is on like a chicken wing. That is what? Like a third of the size of this. So I always find trying to prepare duck wings is kind of a waste of time. I mean, you could also stick those wings in the pot to simmer until the meat is able to be pulled off and still use that meat. Just I find to like actually take the time to prepare it in a different way, like a roasted duck wing or something like that. Tried a couple different ways, and yeah, kind of just a time waster. Fun to experiment with though, I will say that. Bring this pot over. This is kind of juicy, and then this part, just all into the pot. And then we'll cover that all with cold water and get it simmering on the stove. That wasn't too messy. Wasn't too bad. I'm gonna switch this because like I said, we gotta score these duck breasts next and do a little bit of trimming still. You didn't know that's what confit meant? Well, I'm glad I taught you something new today. I'm doing good, Valk. Like full of life today. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm taking it. Okay, so in a perfect world, the duck breast would be like completely covered in the skin. You don't want too much excess for when we're cooking the duck breast. I find like this really thin stuff on the side from where the wing was isn't that good either. So I usually trim it off. And then the other thing, like as we're trimming the duck, is just to kind of keep the same shape, like the natural shape of the duck breast. So that looks good. And now we are looking for any of this really white looking connective tissue. And now that this is flipped over, we can see we can trim that. Hey Matthew, welcome in. How are you doing? TV, you haven't been to the cinema in so long, you haven't realized movies seem to really suck lately. Yeah, I agree. I mostly just watch like old movies now. You've been really bored today, but the end is in sight. Gonna land in 4 hours. Wait. Did you tell me you were going somewhere? I can't remember now. TV's on an adventure? Kinda looks like a chicken liver, Matthew says. The duck breast? I mean, maybe the color, right? And so does everyone know why duck is, like, dark in color? Oops, I poked the other one by accident. I always like to take this weird vein out, too. So it gets weird when you go to, like, slice it later, so I always cut that out. The dark red color? Yeah, why is duck, like, dark like this, whereas chicken is, like, a white meat? This is actually, like, not that easy to go through ever, I find. It's quite thick connective tissue, and that's definitely why we get rid of it. Like, the tip of my knife could barely even go through it. And we're always trying to keep as much usable meat as well, right? So I make pretty gentle little cuts. Because, yeah, the duck breast meat is quite soft. It's easy to make a mistake. And, like, often, I always find, like, the duck tender just wants to fall off anyways. So usually I will just take it off and fry it separate as, like, a little snack. It's just gonna get overcooked. But at least this way we can have, like, a little snack in, and then often I will take out this ligament. But even that's difficult, too. It's worth it, though. Bam. Tenders are the chef snacks, right? Fry that up in some of the fat while the breasts are cooking. I know I'm usually getting hungry by the end of stream anyways. So definitely look for any, like, feathers that were not plucked out. Because, yeah, those don't, like, cook down or anything. They just kind of crisp up and get weird, I will say. You can find them by running your hand, like, against the way that they're facing. There shouldn't be too many that you have to pick out, though. Usually pretty well done. I mean, it's not gonna kill you either. Let's also say that. Okay, so Kiwi didn't tell me he was going somewhere. Client told you you need a vacation. You've been grumpy. I love it. Do you decide to go play in the desert for 3 weeks? You're landing in Salt Lake City soon? What the heck? I love it. Okay, so for scoring this, we are going to like keep the skin kind of taut. I might switch to a different knife. I don't know if this is going to be currently sharp enough the way that it is. I'm just going to switch to my chef's knife. And now it's going to be a little bit more difficult because like my chef's knife is quite sharp. And what we want to watch is like not going through when we score all the way to the meat underneath. You're just going through that top layer of skin. And then when we go to sear this later, just going to let a lot more of the fat render out nice. See, it looks like I didn't do anything, but when you actually like open it, we scored it. I'm putting a bit of pressure, but not a ton. And like if you find it didn't go through enough, you could always go back over it again. And we're gonna be creating a diamond pattern like this. You don't have to go as like skinny as I'm going. You can go a little bit more thick. But it does look really nice, I will say, if you do it nice and fine. See, I almost went too far there. Whew. Okay, so usually I like kind of press this all back together now. You had a huge batch of rhubarb and raspberry in the freezer, so you made jam, ended up with 5 jars. Yummy. I love rhubarb. Hi, Frank. Ducks and geese are migrating long distance flyers. Chickens, not so much. Ducks and geese, therefore, have different motors tissue. Yeah, so like ducks and geese, that's why their meat is really dark. Is because of the hemoglobin in their blood. Is like more active because they're more active. And then that gets imparted into the color of their flesh. Which I find so interesting. So that's why like a lot of game meats, for example, the venison that we cooked last week was also like very dark. Some of the darkest meat I've ever seen, right? Okay, we're all scored on that one. Kiwi. Okay, anyone that lives near Salt Lake, be aware. It's only Kiwi, it's not Bigfoot. Okay, we're gonna switch back. Just gonna move this little pile of trim from the last duck breast. Let's switch to this one now. I just kind of like peek under or feel under where the actual meat is. We're always keeping our knuckles tucked as we're trimming. Because this point on a boning knife is very terrifying. That will enter your skin and not have any feelings. I also have a friend that has had it enter his knee, and he's lucky that he still walks today now. Yes, that was Zachary. Moose meat is near black, Valk says. That's so crazy looking, hey? Okay, we're flipping it. Yeah, when the meat is like so dark, it looks like kind of purple or like brown or black. I felt so good after eating that venison though, you guys. I really have to say that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the black, like, meat chickens, Frank is saying. Isn't it a brand of Silky? I don't think I've ever had the black meat chicken. But I've heard of this. Moose and reindeer meat looks similar, but you like the reindeer meat more. It tastes better. And there is revenge. Hey. I'm just turning this because it's easier for me to cut. You having revenge against Santa? Oh yeah, that's the one that we nicked by accident. I did that. The ayam samani is from Indonesia. I actually didn't know it was from Indonesia. I thought it was from a different Asian country. I think that looks good. I'm trying to decide if I took enough off. Maybe go a little bit more. Whoa, that was so thick and hard to get through. I'm glad I did that, actually. Holy. Okay, we're gonna score this one next. Do I want to trim this a little bit more? I mean, usually the fat also shrinks a little bit when we go to sear it. Don't think I'm gonna trim too much more off of that. Okay, so same way as the other one. We'll switch our knife just for ease. We'll start up this way and go down. So no one in here has had that black meat chicken, hey? Because, like, you totally wonder what it tastes like. It tastes different? Usually I just turn this because it's easier to go back the other way. Used to haul fish in Norway in the northern bit and they're everywhere. Oh, the reindeer. Yes, yeah. Especially when it's like migration season, I'm sure. That would be annoying. I don't like that way that I had it turned. It was weird. I'm switching it. It always looks so weird when you're scoring this too before it's like cooked. It feels so like rubbery. But it's an important step that I wouldn't skip. Yeah, so you can like just see the meat under, but we never hit it. Making sure I went through enough, which I didn't up here. It's also quite thick up in this area too. Which is even more important to make sure that you did it right. Okay. Just gonna wash up really quick so I can grab a plate to put these onto. And we'll also put just the legs in a container for now. I'm gonna wash my chef knife so that we can use it for veggies and stuff still. Eating black meat chicken may be a healthier choice than white meat. There's a source of carnosine that has antioxidant properties. Well, that's like when you eat like anything kind of dark like that, right? Like berries and stuff have antioxidants. It kind of makes sense. This season doesn't matter for the reindeer kiwi. They're just always around. Dumber than pigeons? They can't be dumber than our pigeons. Not even. Okay, we're all cleaned up. Hi, Uncle Stinky. Welcome in. I hope Seattle is A-okay. Black chicken is like slightly more gamier in taste. That is what I was assuming, yeah. Okay. Pop those onto the plate. Always kind of just like form the fat back together before we season it later. We'll pop these tenders on too. I'm gonna quickly get a little container. Because we're still gonna deal with the duck legs today, just not currently. Now we can get rid of this. It always looks so gross when you're butchering, but then like at the end when you're done and you take the board away, it's the best feeling ever. Looks so good. I'll definitely have a sip of water in a sec, Matthew. Thank you. Just gonna rinse all this off. And then we'll run some cold water so that we can fill up our stock pot. You're trying an experiment today, Uncle Stinky? Cut a russet into fries, have them in the steamer, and you're gonna pan fry it later. Yeah, that should work, honestly. Like a little shallow fry of sorts. I don't see why that wouldn't. Not much different than like blanching the potatoes. And then frying them after. I would like to actually know how that turns out for you. Alright. I always like to do this when we're done our butchery. There's our duck in all the different parts. Compared to like that one piece of meat, the one animal that we started with. Look at all the different things we ended up with. And like this, well, the last pot of broth I made me 3 liters. And usually when I make duck broth, we make ramen after too. So that's always a fun one on stream as well. Okay. Cold water's running. We'll get our pot filled and onto the stovetop. We'll start making the rest of our actual dish today. Having a sense of direction doesn't make you smart. Moths have a sense of direction. Compare a pigeon to a corvid. It's true, Kiwi. Duck broth for ramen sounds so unctuous. It honestly is. It could be a bit rich for some people, I'm sure. Trev, how are you, dude? I missed you. It's been forever. Don't overfill the pot. And then usually I only turn this on to like medium heat. Let it come up to a simmer slowly. Trev says, roasting duck's probably the only thing you manage to consistently F up. And you're roasting it whole, right? Also, hi Mary, welcome back. Annie gifted you a sub, nice. He's a very generous human here. Yeah, I guess if you're always messing it up, Paloozer says, then don't roast it, just confit it. So when did we... I believe we did a whole duck roast. Maybe a couple years ago now? But we wanted to try it because, yeah, in Denmark, around Christmas time, they will often have like a whole roasted duck dinner. And here in Canada, we don't often cook our duck like that. We always cook it in separate pieces. At least we're taught as chefs to do that. I have definitely had a whole roasted goose at like one of my family functions at a farm or something like that, right? But like Trev says, it's very difficult to make a whole roasted duck or goose actually good, right? Which is why we are taught to cook it in its different parts. Because it just turns out better that way. I'm just trying to see on YouTube if that VOD exists for you. Because it did turn out really good that time. I was like pleasantly surprised. I believe it's this one, yeah. Okay. I was also a sponsored stream. We played games. We played a hunting game while we had a duck roasting on the Big Green Egg. So go check that out. I'm sure you could like scroll through that and see the process that we did. And knowing me, I probably explained it all at the beginning of stream anyways. The Cabela's game? Yeah, the Cabela's game. Basically, the game where Kate just drives around on an ATV and gets scared of animals when she hears them. No, but I think we actually got some pretty good shots on that one. Did we get a couple elk that time? Cookie remembers. Mary remembers too. It was a fun game though, I have to say. Could be something I would go back to play, for sure. I haven't picked it up in a while though. I'm still on my Disney kick. I don't know about you guys if you're playing any games right now. Okay, so what's next here? On our list, we got our duck breast and it's scored ready to cook. So that will be, let's say total like 15-minute process for cooking the duck breast. It'll probably sear for around 10 and then we'll rest it for like 5 to 10 while we make the pan sauce. I almost forgot to write pan sauce. Hello, we gotta juice oranges and stuff. You're gonna get your hands on oodles of wild goose soon. Game and Wildlife lifted all restrictions on hunting them when they migrate. Overpopulation or something. Must be nice. The link just goes to YouTube Studio. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, let me see. That wasn't supposed to happen. Why isn't it letting me find the link to it? There it is. Hello there, technical difficulties. That was before I started shortening the VODs too, so just scroll the first like 15 minutes of it through our starting screen. Cookie says, speaking of sauces and broths, I've been meaning to try making your own demi-glace one day. You should. That is like, if you are someone who really, really loves beef and like having sauces and stuff like that with it, oh my gosh, is it like so rich? Thanks for saying that, Trev. I'm sorry I messed that up the first time. Mary, is it wrong to make a filet mignon and garlic and herb rice for breakfast? Never. You already know just asking that you already knew what my answer was gonna be. I wish I was having that for breakfast. Okay, our squash. We're gonna get our squash all cut up and onto a roasting pan to get cooking. And then we'll also prepare our pumpkin seeds to get toasted at the same time. And our roasted squash is gonna be served on the plate with a drizzle of some pomegranate syrup and our toasted pumpkin seeds to go with the wild rice pilaf and the duck with orange sauce. You thought you were fobbing at the link? No, I often make mistakes. It was tasty though, Mary. Oh, I am sure of it. Okay, I keep my squash in like dark, cool areas, aka the storage closet that no one really goes into often. I've had this squash for quite a while now. And I will say, like, when I bought this squash, I had to bring it home and wash it because, like, can you see all those little blemishes on there? It was weird stuff on it. And all of the squashes in the store looked like that, but they were all on sale. I was like, well, I want to still buy it, right? So I don't know what's gonna happen when we peel it. It's like one of the squashes exploded, I think. And then like put the juices onto the rest of them and tried to make them go bad. Hey Andy, what's going on? Okay, so we are going to peel this whole thing. I think we'll cook all of it today because I like to have leftovers of roasted vegetables to eat throughout the week too. It did have freckles when I bought it. Whoa. Just like peeling it though, look how juicy it is. Dry squash or like dry veggies of any sort is the worst. Basically just roast into like a cardboard texture. And so then this juice from the squash is gonna stick onto your hands and like create a film, let's say. So often it's recommended to actually peel butternut squash with gloves on. But I'll just like rinse my fingies off every now and then. I don't see a point to waste gloves. But yeah, if you let that stuff dry onto your fingers though, you'll get like this weird film on your hands that just like sticks to your skin that you can't really wash off for a couple days. Trying to retain yourself to look past blemishes on produce. Yes, right? That's why I did that. It's like, well, I still want it. So let's just pick the one that looks like it's not gonna go moldy right away. You get a bad allergic reaction to the like juices, Trev. That's interesting. Alex, gloves are for after I cut my fingies. Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna trim this first before we finish peeling. Ooh, really nice dark color inside too. That looks good, guys. Okay. Rinse the knife. I will definitely dry my hands off now that we're done with the mostly sticky, squashy business. You only want food that hurts you after you eat it? So you're just gonna like live on pineapple for the rest of your life? Pineapple. It eats you as you eat it. What is that acid in there called? I forget. Kiwi's just in America scaring old ladies. Typical. She's been eyeing you since you got on, went to the toilet, kept a close eye on you. This guy. I'm trimming there. Usually when like the bulb of the squash turns into the stem is where like the seeds and stuff stop. Ta-da. I said usually. We'll scoop all that out. Yeah, bromelain, that's the one, the enzyme. It's called squash hands. What? I'm clicking on that because I like that. Red itchy peeling palms. Uh-oh, you've got squash hands. That is the greatest thing ever, Trev. The one type of squash that I really miss having that we always were able to get on Vancouver Island is called delicata. Has anyone ever had that or seen it? Can I even get into here? What is going on? It looks quite pulpy. I don't know what's gonna happen when we cut this in half. We might have to scoop out some stuff from here. Ah! Guys! It was starting to die. Okay, I guess I'll scoop out that. The hell? These are the things you don't see when it's in its whole form. Kudas! Thank you for the 2 gifted subs to the community today. We got Lukey Bears as well as Johnson. It's getting hairy? I don't know. It's like juicy but also dried at the same time. Mish, help. This squash didn't have nearly enough feta in its life. Hello, Chip Gaming. This feels so weird, you guys. It's literally like the pulp like grew up into the stem. Okay, I'm gonna do it the different way. It's only like a week old. There's no way that it should be doing that. Lately, I've been really noticing, like what? Last week we had that perfect looking onion that we cut into was just rotten to the core. What is going on with veggies, chat? They just selling us all of, like, the previous year's old produce? These are the things I think about sometimes. Juicy and dry. Yeah, Mish says, don't we all get that feeling? Wacky weather, wacky produce? That would also make sense, Paloozer, yeah. It's like, as it was growing, it didn't have enough water to, like, fill out all the cells? I don't even know. At least most of it's usable, though. Just, like, cutting off what really feels, like, soft. I've never seen that happen to a squash, though. Guess that's what I'm trying to say. I think I'm with you on that one, Trev. That stuff is not being stored properly. Yeah, there have been times, hey Kiwi, if you've had like too much pineapple, you've eaten too much fresh pineapple and your tongue is weird after. Yeah, your tongue gets weird after. The pineapple kind of eats it. Okay, now we're gonna dice this up. Well, yeah, veggies have like such a long shelf life compared to a lot of other things in the grocery store, right? And even just going off of the fresh seafood in the seafood department. Well, if you live somewhere like us in the prairies, not at the ocean, you know the seafood's not actually fresh. It's probably taken it almost a week to get to the store. And I only really noticed this once I did eat fish straight out of the ocean fresh. That's really the only time you'll notice that you're like, wow. So all of the other fish I was told that was fresh in my life definitely wasn't. Because a fish out of the ocean doesn't smell or like taste like anything. Maybe it smells a little bit like oceany, oceanic. But it definitely doesn't taste fishy or anything like that. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't realize that until like much later in my life, right? Because I grew up here in the prairies as well. It's like, dang, I've been eating like old fish. So now I'm very picky and I don't really eat fish here at all. I'll choose shellfish, maybe. If it smells like fish, just buy the lamb, as Emerald would say. Yes. Okay, so I always try and keep my squash around 1-inch cubes. I find it takes around 30 minutes for it to cook that size. Now we're gonna prepare the roasting pan. We'll line it with some foil and parchment. I'll get the squash dressed up. What do you guys usually like to put on your squash? I was thinking... I mean, this is what I kind of always do, though. It's like olive oil, salt, and pepper, a little bit of thyme. Mish says feta on the squash. I don't have no feta today, Mish. It's been eaten. Whoa. Someone from the hallway is wearing so much perfume that I could smell it in the front entrance in the pantry. That's a lot of perfume. Very fresh. Very floral. Ooh! The smoked paprika one, Cookie. I like that. Let's try that today, because I feel like that'll give an interesting flavor to go with the duck. Do I have any, though? That is the other question. I think so. Yes. Yes. If I know me, I probably have, like, every spice. We got it. Okay, so we'll do some smoked paprika and a little bit of thyme, salt, pepper, olive oil. A little bit of sugar is good on squash too, or maple syrup if you want some extra caramelization or sweetness even. Just gonna leave that foil there because we'll need it for the rice pilaf pan. Spanish squash. Squash español. Yeah, even just doing simple salt, pepper, and garlic is good too, Trev. Smoked paprika is so useful. It really is. Definitely comes in handy. And it's something we don't use a lot. So I always get really excited actually when I use it. Because it doesn't impart like a lot of smoky flavor. But I really do love the color that it puts onto the things that you use it with. Kiwi. Are you on a plane trying to start a conversation with the lady that's scared of you? Or are you on a train? Just start doing random suspicious things. He's gonna get sent back to Estonia. Okay, let's do this in a bowl, this squash. Like to toss it all together. Oh my god, Kiwi. So bad. Okay, so we'll be cooking all this today. I'm gonna go pretty high heat, probably like 425. Like when squash gets a little bit of color on it. And then I think we could also cook the rice at that temperature as well. Because this oven is cool. The one thing that we still have to read on the wild rice I bought was whether we have to rinse it before we use it. Because in the pilaf recipe I linked, it says to rinse the wild rice really well. So we'll see what it says on the bag. And I'll probably just go by that. We need the little sifter, not the pourer. Maybe I should do a little bit of granulated garlic too. Round it out, because there's no garlic anywhere else in the meal today. Smells good already. It looks pretty evenly tossed. Always try and like scrape out the extra oil and spices from the bowl. Because look at that. And just use that hand to spread out the squash into one nice layer on the sheet pan. You don't want it piled up because then it will just steam and not really roast. I usually separate them so they're not really touching. I don't have that much here, so it's easy to do. But if you have a full sheet pan, that's okay. Okay, wash the hands. Now it's rice time. And then we can prep this stuff for finishing the duck and the sauce while everything is in the oven. We just have to juice some oranges. We have our broth already here. I know the recipe suggests using like wine in the sauce, but I don't need to do that. I think a sauce is really good if you just deglaze the pan properly. Can you eat squash raw? I don't know. I don't think so. At least not winter squash, maybe? I've had raw summer squash, zucchini, and stuff like that. But yeah, that one, I actually don't know the answer. Dust. I mean, you can, but it doesn't mean you should, right? That's how I usually go with it too. If worse comes to worse, we would. Okay, this is what it says. There's 12 portions of rice in this bag. See? I'm happy I didn't buy the Uncle Ben's. Sorry, I'm not allowed to call it Uncle Ben's. It's just Ben's. But honestly, it'll always be Uncle Ben's. Okay. Combine with water, bring to a boil. Guys, they don't say to rinse the rice or anything. They don't say to rinse it. They just say put it with water, bring to a boil, simmer on low for 25 minutes, and then you let it stand for 5 after. They said you could add more water if needed to reach desired texture, or substitute water with broth and stock for enhanced flavor. Let's put some of our bone broth into the wild rice today. Yes, please. And it says to prepare in a rice cooker, just follow the instructions on your rice cooker and use the same water ratio on the bag. That is actually so much helpful information on a rice bag. There's never been that much before. They say you can use this in a salad, in soups, as a side dish, or even as an entree. And this brand has been around for 4 generations in Canada. Very cool. So, okay. Is this for cooked? I'm wondering if this is for cooked rice. I'm gonna assume it's not. The 1/4 cup serving. Quite a bit of carbs, but like there's a good little bit of protein in there still. Okay, so now that we know we don't have to rinse the rice, I'm just gonna look at the pilaf recipe and see what the next steps are. So she used 1 cup of the wild rice blend and 2 cups of water. Whereas this says 1 cup of rice and 1 3/4 cups of water. Okay. She puts sweet potatoes in the pilaf, whereas we're keeping our butternut squash on this side. Shallot and garlic. So remember, we're using our pre-made base that I did once upon a time, which has onion, garlic, celery, carrot, and butter. And then to that, she says you can add any herbs, you can add any dried fruits, as well as nuts or seeds. We're kind of keeping all of that stuff out of that today, other than like some herbs and this flavoring, because we're keeping our seeds on the side with our squash, as well as our fruity flavor from the pomegranate syrup. So she just cooks the rice by itself for this first. That's like so not what a pilaf is. Okay, so usually a rice pilaf is something that is like baked in the oven first off. And yes, all of the things you add in that she did was correct. But yeah, you don't pre-cook the rice by itself and then just mix everything in afterwards. That's like very wrong. A pilaf is supposed to be cooked all together, so all of those flavors become one when it is in the oven, right? I see why she maybe would do that, because she's worried about like affecting the texture of the rice, cooking it all together. But yeah, I've cooked rice in the oven before like this a lot, and it works so good. We might add just a little bit more water. Like we'll go the full 2 cups rather than the 1 3/4, just because we're cooking it at a higher heat with the squash, so it's going to like simmer and evaporate quicker. That's about it though. But yeah, pilafs are like, yes, they can be made in a pot if you put everything together. But I just wanted to make a note that the recipe I linked, that's not the proper way to make it. The ingredients are good though. She made a pilaf. Okay, so let's measure all of our stuff out, and we are making this in a baking pan. We have made just regular rice pilaf before on stream with a very actually similar like flavoring, but we've never done the wild one yet. And so you'll need a piece of tin foil, or like if your pan has a lid, that's perfect. But something to keep it covered so the rice can actually steam. And this is honestly like so simple how we do this. I think before we start, I'm just gonna take a really quick bathroom break though, and then we can finish up stream. I will be back in 1 moment. Don't go anywhere. It's me. Mish says, "Pike me all you want." I need some water now. Everyone take a water break. Palooza got an anchovy? Nice. Kiwi, why did you choose going to Salt Lake, by the way? I need to know this. Why wouldn't you just come and visit Canada? Because it's not the desert? So out of all of these rices in here, I think I've had 2 of them. I've had a Calrose rice, and I've had wild rice, but like I don't even think I've had a long grain brown rice before. So cool. Okay, so one thing about how we're making our pilaf today is you need to get some boiling water going. Like this is how you make the pilaf, right? Is you pour your boiling water into your prepared rice in the pan, and then everything goes into the oven. Let's just get a little pot going on this side. It shouldn't take very long because we only need 2 cups worth. And that's really the most important part about making oven rice. So I don't usually pre-measure out the water. I'll just scoop it from the pot and get rid of whatever is extra. We'll get that on as we are preparing the pilaf in the pan. I think we'll garnish with herbs. I don't know. I have a bunch of chopped parsley, so I guess we could just sprinkle it on before. It shouldn't really turn brown. Put the pilaf in the anchovy. Ah, you guys are reminding me of this one crazy... was it a Filipino stuffed fish that Vyun had me make? Do you guys remember that? Where you debone the whole fish, it's whole, and you keep the skin intact, and then you stuff it with this rice blend. That was so insane. Probably the most insane stream I ever did. But like, we did it, and then you fried it in a pan whole. That was crazy. This is a 2-cup container. You remember, Cookie? We've done so much crazy stuff over the years. I should have honestly kept a list from like the first stream I started of all the things we made. But like, mind you, it's in Discord basically anyways to go back over the years, right? I just think having that list to look over from the 6 years would be so cool. You gotta go, Michael. Going out to eat with your parents to celebrate your birthday. Fun. Have a wonderful birthday dinner. And I hope you have some yummy cake, too. Okay, so now we'll spread this out. And then for the water amount, we just fill this up. Keep that on the side. I was just thinking about putting the broth into the rice though. Maybe we should have measured it out. And then one thing I always do as well with grains is like kind of look through them. Sometimes there's some little pebbles, stuff like that. Sometimes there's some sneaky grains also that shouldn't be in there too. This looks okay though. Like the amount of rocks I've picked out of lentils before, the worst. Did someone say cake? Yeah, Michael's gonna go have a birthday cake, probably. Going for birthday dinner. Okay, so that's what the mix looks like. It looks way different than what it looks like on this side of the container. Just get a spoon. I'll probably do like maybe 4 dollops of that. And then as the rice is cooking, all of those flavors will cook into it, and then you can just stir it up afterwards. So there's already butter inside of here. I wasn't planning on adding any more fat to the dish. I honestly might add a little bit though. Just like one little nub of butter in the center. Because I find like this rice might be a little bit more starchy and I don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. Rocks add flavor. It's good for digestions. The pigeons do it. Yeah, this is some of my favorite ways to have rice, Chase. And it's so effortless. I do like to cook rice on the stovetop, but every now and then it's good to switch it up. And yeah, every time we made this for people at work, they went nuts for it. And like I said, I've been kind of bored of eating just jasmine rice lately. So we're gonna learn something new today. They went rice for it. Yeah, sorry, not nuts. Please. Do you like that? Well, yeah, right? Like, I was going to go buy that Uncle Ben's the pre-made mix, and I was like, why would I do this? I basically have everything inside of here in the house anyways. Just make my own version and see which one I like better, honestly. What other flavors do we gotta put in here? Okay, so we got parsley there. I just have rosemary. I don't think I want it to taste like rosemary, so I'm not gonna put that in. We can put some seasonings, let's say. We don't want it to be bland. Rice and nuts. It's not a bad combo, it's true, Frank. We'll do a little seasoning. The duck stock is almost up as well. Maybe a bit more. We can always add more after it's cooked, right? Okay. Chopped parsley from last week. Look how good it stayed. Like, used it a couple times while I was eating up some leftovers from the fridge. But it's seriously, like, perfect. So sprinkle that over. Go pretty heavy on the parsley, I think. Be really nice. Mish, you started adding less than a teaspoon of mayo into your cooked rice. The fat adds so much flavor to it. You saw it on Insta and you tried it. That actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, I grew up being the person that would always put like margarine or butter on their rice. So it makes sense. Because like I've switched out butter for mayo on the outside of a grilled cheese. And it works really good still. Hello, warning you. It's going good. How are you? Same with Nightwalker. Welcome in, guys. It's just some sort of fat. That's all it is. It's not even gross, she says. Now we have to wonder, why are you saying that? It's not even gross. You don't get the mayo flavor. I know, Mish. I'm just bugging you. Could be bacon grease. Yes. That would be money. Okay, so that's it for now until we have our water boiling and we pour that in. Let's grab our tin foil pre-torn so that we just have to cover this because we want as much steam inside of here as possible. Let's get the oven on, I guess. 'Tis time. Guys, look at the stove top. Look at it. We gotta skim that scum, I think. I'll bring a ladle back with me with the foil, since we're going this way. Ugh, my hand is like a little bit dry. It's itchy. Maybe I have squash hands. Oh no! We gotta skim the scum. That's just all the impurities coming out of the bones and stuff. And if we skim that off the top, that's what helps keep the stock really nice and clear. Okay, the water's up, so I'm just gonna like turn it to a simmer while we wait for the oven to heat a bit more. So all we do, because it's like foamy like this, just take your ladle, swirl it along the top, and then I just put it into a container to cool, and then usually just into the garbage. Like, it's not liquidy, like a meat foam. Move over, bones. Ooh, got a lot of liquid in that one. This is gonna be so tasty. There's already like a layer of fat starting to form on the duck stock. I will say this, sometimes it's dangerous when you do have a really fatty stock that you're cooking. Skim that off too. Because sometimes the heat will get trapped under the fat and it will explode like a volcano when it starts to release. It's really scary. Just be aware of that. Okay, that was like a good first skim. We'll probably have to do it one more time. Look at how much stuff we took off though. Sometimes I have to peek and see what you guys are saying. All I read was, can't help it, you may be gross, but you're fun. How do you say that, Mish? Fastelavnball? How the heck do you say that? But they do look so good, hey Bob? We need someone to send them to us. She says, Kate, please. But gluten? I think I'm slowly healing from the gluten. I don't know. I keep trying it, and so far I'm okay. But I still don't eat it very often. I will say I really do feel like 1,000 times better cutting it out. Which is sad, but a reality. Okay, in the meantime, while we're waiting just on our oven to come up to temp, let's juice some oranges for our duck breast for the sauce. We will also take these out so they can start to temp up. You don't cook meat straight out of the fridge. That's a no-no. It's just gonna cook more evenly and consistently when you let it temp up a little bit. So I was thinking 2 oranges to start. And yeah, I believe I just have caracaras. I don't think we bought just regular navel oranges. So the juice is gonna be like deep pink, sort of. Gluttony is a sin. And then how do I want to do this? Probably just into a container on this side. I wasn't really planning to strain it, but we can. Just so it's really nice and smooth. Oh no, she's going after Dust now. Watch out, Dust. We're crazy, that's what. What is that in there? I think it's stuck forever. It's not coming out. Misha's harmless. Dust, like, I'm not scared. Yeah, look. Who's had a Cara orange in their life? Because look at how amazing and perfect that looks. It looks fake. They've been so good, though. I'll often buy my fruit, let it sit on the counter for a couple days to ripen. I just find it really makes it taste so much better. And then, yeah, pop them in the fridge after that, like maybe 3 to 5 days. And that way, like, the skin kind of shrinks down, and I find that the flavor of the fruit gets more concentrated. That's my pro tips. Maybe a little bit difficult to juice. I'm literally just like shoving my fingers in there to get it started. Shh, quiet. The carrot orange. I like how popular these are becoming. You can really find them almost everywhere in Canada now. Ah! Me just pouring the juice on the cutting board. If you wanted a lot of orange flavor in the sauce, you could zest the orange first. But I don't want it to taste too orangey. I still want the duck to shine. This is just like an accompaniment. Can I get this centered more? Maybe that's the issue. Just peeking at the stovetop, making sure everything's happy still. And yeah, we always want to get all the goodness out. It sucks that they don't really like make an orange juicer. Like maybe they do, like the way that they have the lemon and lime one all together, because that would be handy. But every now and then it's nice to do stuff with your hands like this. Kind of fun. And you really do get like a good feel of the juices that are actually left in there. Now I just want to drink this fresh squeezed orange juice. Like, come on. So this orange is called a Cara orange. C-A-R-A. And that is why the flesh is like grapefruit colored. But it's so, so sweet. Thank you, Paloozer. Really? It developed as a spontaneous bud mutation on a standard Washington navel orange tree. So it's actually a mutant. It's not even like GMO or anything. What? I wonder how. How did it become red though? Me. Are you saying Bob's a mutant? These are the very cool and interesting things about food. Mutant fruits are radical. Look at all the juice we lost. I'm sad. But I think we have more than enough. The color of that, it looks like peach colored. That should be lots of orange juice, because we only have 2 duck breasts today. And then I was going to put a little bit of our bone broth, my chicken bone broth that I made, because it's so yellow. But the colors would balance out. I would just add that extra body and flavor that we'd be looking for in like a really nice pan sauce. So that's ready. Put it on this side actually. And then let me see if there's anything else for the sauce that we need. Oh, this recipe that I linked for the duck is actually done by Zola or Sola. I like her. She's a good chef. Okay, there's a bunch of reading that we might read through while we're waiting. I had to scroll. Okay. They did white wine, which we're not doing. We're just doing the stock. They say a little bit of butter, probably just to mount it. And what mounting a sauce means is when you have all of your liquids in the pan and it's been reduced enough already and it's like almost coating the back of the spoon, but not quite. You're like, well, the sauce tastes perfect, but I don't want to reduce it more because then it's going to get salty. That's when you drop in and mount your sauce with cold butter cubes. You don't need a lot, but you just swirl in that butter at the end and that will emulsify your sauce and bring it all together. Rather than if you've ever had a sauce that's like separated, well, it should be called jus, right? Because it's just the liquid as well as the fat. Yes, good one, Paloozer. So yeah, to not add any more salt, we're gonna use unsalted butter. I never specify that, it's always an assumption, but yeah, a lot of people actually do use salted butter, especially in North America, whereas I always use unsalted butter. I don't even have salted butter in the house. Like, I have salt and butter, that's good enough for me. Let me check this temp of the oven quick. Okay, it feels pretty good. I think we will put the rice in the middle of the oven and we'll put the squash towards the top of the oven. I think that is how it will cook the best. So let's switch this. We'll get the squash in and then we'll take care of the rice together. And then we know we have around 30 minutes to prepare the duck, which I was saying we need around 20 total. So that gives us 10 minutes leeway to do whatever we want or learn a little bit. Salted butter in Europe, Mish says, isn't very salty. You have less than 1% salt in a batch. You don't even see unsalted butter in most stores. What? Less than 1% salt. Now I need to look at salted butter and see if it specifies here in North America how much is in it. The salt definitely preserves it for longer, right? Okay, so here's our squash that we dressed up. Oil, olive oil, salt and pepper, garlic, thyme, and smoked paprika. Thanks to Cookie for the suggestion. So top shelf that. Turn up this rice pot. Crank it. Unsalted butter gang, unite red syrup. I'm gonna just get a measuring cup. It's easier to pour the hot water into the pan. It's less scary. Okay. So you want your water to be fully boiling before you shut it off and add it. So we have 1 cup of rice kernels in there. And it said we need 2 cups of water. Just wanted to show that it's boiling. $500 mils. I'm gonna put that pot down in the sink because we want to do this pretty quick while it's still hot. Always just give it a little shimmy shake before we cover it. There's 1.25 to 1.75% salt in North America. So almost double, we could say. Gross. The watering can, that was so accurate. The pour spout really helps. Ow! The bottom of the pan is so hot from the water. That's the only part that's hard, is adding it into the oven. Okay, let's set... I'm gonna do a 20-minute timer just for my own self. I always like to give about 10 minutes leeway. You have a tub of margarine if you want salt, but you save the butter for baking. I like that. I like that. Mish. Alex, I'm surprised the USA doesn't have sweetened butter as a normal thing, right? Just sweetened with corn syrup, but they'll still call it honey butter. Okay, a couple of things I'm just gonna move around over here. I'm gonna move the stock to a different burner so that we can cook the duck together. And now that we skim the scum off of the duck broth, I'm just gonna pop the lid back on it on an angle, because we're not really trying to cook that stock down, we're just trying to cook it together. Just a big block of chocolate labeled butter. Are we bad? Kind of. Is it fun though? Yes. Okay, duck pan is here. We have to season the duck. Whipped butter is so delicious. That is one thing I miss making in restaurants. It's so fun to make. And then if you have to like pipe it out into little containers for service. Hershey's chocolate wanted to reduce the amount of like cocoa in their chocolate by so much that the government even said no. Cookie. Thank you for sharing that. So Hershey's doesn't really care about us at all then, we could say. They don't even want us to have chocolate. They just want us to have sugar. Texas Roadhouse has cinnamon honey butter with their giant rolls. Giggity. Just Homer drool sounds. Okay, salt and pepper is all I'm doing on the duck. I keep it pretty simple. As with most proteins, I would say. It's only when I get really bored of something that I start to switch it up. And then I'll keep the pepper like pretty fine too, not too coarse. And that way it's just a little bit more delicate. Don't forget to season the tenders. What's everyone else eating today? Misha already told us what she made. I do go pretty heavy on the salt layer on duck just because of the thick layer of fat that goes with it. Leftover veggie soup, yummo. Soup is always a good option. Always good to have in the fridge too, right? If you don't know what you feel like eating. Soup is very nourishing. Okay, that looks good. You made egg McMuffins with cheddar cheese? Nom. Homemade breakfast sandwich? Life. Holy. This front burner is way more powerful than the back burner. It must be a different setting. I turned it to the same heat and like it almost just boiled over. Yellow. Okay, so for our duck pan, we don't need any fat in it. I usually just put the duck breasts in with them skin side down, and then as they are searing up, it will release enough fat in the pan on its own. We don't need anything extra. Yum cookie, 1 pot pasta with Italian sausage, white wine reduction, chicken bone broth, pecorino romano, baby arugula, and roasted red peppers. That is a very well done 1 pot pasta. I wish I could eat it. If I was there, I would eat it. Even the gluten and everything. Bob made chicken, spinach, and feta burgers with gluten-free mac and cheese. Yeah, you did. You guys are eating good today. Okay, I'm gonna put this over by the stove. What do we got on our timer here? 14 minutes? And I left ourselves 10-minute leeway to cook the duck. I think we should just get the pan on and heating up. We're gonna go a medium heat to start. And then from there, we could always turn it down a bit. We don't actually want to go super high though when we're cooking the duck, because we want to take that little bit of extra time to make sure that we render out more fat under this skin. And that's something that is actually explained in the article that I linked for you guys, which is why the reason that I did link it today. So this is what they say just while we're waiting for our pan to heat up. Unlike chicken, duck breast has a hue and texture akin to that of red meat and is safe to consume medium rare. Fact. So we will be, I like my duck more like somewhere between medium rare. I don't like it too rare though, because I find it stays very chewy and it's hard to eat. So yeah, they say bring on the pink. Perfectly cooked duck breast will have moist and juicy meat with a luscious and crunchy skin. The first step is to score the fat to help it render more efficiently. Done. Ducks are busy commuter birds who need lots of fat to fuel them through long flights and for extra buoyancy when they rest in the pond and lake. I never thought of that. The fat keeps them afloat. So when rendered down to a slender and succulent layer beneath the crisp skin, the fat is a culinary marvel, but you can easily end up with too much of a good thing. Scoring gives the fat more exposure to heat by increasing the surface area, allowing it to render faster. So because we want a little bit of fat left under the skin, we make our shallow cuts, not into the meat. And he said even if you don't want to eat the duck fat after it's done cooking, you still have to cook it with the fat on and then just take it off after, which I think is a great tip. You can always take the fat off after, but to keep the duck really moist while it's cooking, definitely leave that layer on. So after scored, we season the duck with kosher salt, heavily on the fat side. They say just lightly on the flesh side, but I often don't. And they say that's all the prep you need before you start cooking. Let's see this temp. That feels pretty good. I'm gonna pop those in, and then we'll just give them a light little press down. Obviously, hearing that sizzle right off the bat is perfect. We can pop a little bit of salt on that side now if we want. Yes, make roasted potatoes with the duck fat. That's what I said earlier too, Alex. If you don't, you're crazy and you're missing out. Misha's mom is making homemade pizza tomorrow? Yes, please. Do you know what kind of flavors she's making already? Remember, just a little bit on this side. We mostly just season the other side for the fat. Yeah, this is one thing I've learned over the years, Hootaz, is duck has enough fat in it, and it will crisp up so much nicer if you actually start in a dry pan. It feels so weird to do, but it turns out so, so nice. You can already see that the bottom of the pan is almost fully coated in fat. You'll update tomorrow, Mish? Sounds wonderful. Red syrup, you've been mentally feeling good, so you've been wanting nice breakfast. That's kind of how it goes, hey? It's so unfortunate. It's like you feel good, you take care of yourself. You feel like shit, you don't take care of yourself. What? It's because we always want like someone else to do it for us, right? It's easier. Yeah, the duck fat will render itself. So far, I'm pretty happy with the temp that I have on the pan. It doesn't seem like it's too high or too low. Like, you can always check because it doesn't really stick. And then we can also tell it's starting to cook because you'll see the duck breast like start to shrink up. It'll mostly shrink from like being long to shorter and fatter. But that is a good sign that things are happening. So then we'll need a clean plate for these to just rest on after they're cooked, while we finish the pan sauce. So we'll get that ready. We need a dish to plate everything on. And with the sauce, we always need a rimmed plate. Keep all those juices in. Did you score it? Yeah, we scored it right after we finished our butchery today, first thing, Chase. So it was pre-scored, and then we put it in the fridge so the skin could dry a little bit while we were prepping the rest of the food. And then we just season it right before it goes in the pan so that it doesn't get too wet. Cookie, you have this same pan in a dark maroon color, the Stab. I was the one who inspired you to get it. It's one of my favorite pans. It mostly just lives on the stovetop because I use it so often. Like I'll make scrambled eggs in here almost every morning. Just wipe it out. Just effortless. I also love it because I have this lid here from this pot set that like fits on top of it perfectly, so I didn't have to buy another lid. But yeah, can't recommend this one enough. I think we've had it for almost 10 years now. I'm gonna switch this pan around. Just because I know my stovetop doesn't always cook the most even. Yeah, this side seemed like it was cooking way less. But just to give you guys a little peek of how that's looking. We're getting there. You don't want it too light in color, but we also don't want to get it too dark in color because then the fat will taste like kind of burnt and gross. 5 minutes we're checking on oven things, and it'll probably need another 10. And then the last thing, just while we're waiting, is just our butter nub to mount the orange sauce at the end. I always cut quite a few nubs of butter, even if I think that I might not need it, rather than stressing as we're trying to finish the sauce. And I can't stress enough that the butter has to be cold when you put it into this sauce. If it's not, the butter will just melt and sit on top of your juice and stuff, and that's not what we want. We want it emulsified. How's this now? It's looking really good, actually. I think we're gonna flip that one. I think we can do that one too, actually. Even then, sometimes I still doubt my own self. But then when you cook something like this for yourself at home, you're like, yeah, I can still cook, it's fine. Rock Lobster #1, thanks for the follow, friend. Oh, actually, thanks for the reminder. So at the grocery store this week, I don't know if your grocery store is doing anything interesting for Valentine's Day, but here at Save on Foods, the one that I always go to, they had this Valentine's meal deal. I picked up 1 10-ounce strip loin steak and 2 lobster tails for 20 bucks. So I picked that up for us, and I just popped everything in the freezer. So I was like, I'm not passing that up. Surf and turf, yeah, right? It was either, yeah, get the steak and the lobster tails, or steak and like a big bag of shrimp. But we just had shrimp lately, so I didn't want that again. I'm gonna like turn this around a little bit. Actually, I might go to like this side of the pan because you can see how it's like leaning on this really thick side. The true caretaker. Your wife's birthday is the 17th, so you're making food for her birthday instead of Valentine's. Yes, do that. I mean, Sam's not even home, so we were talking last night, and he found actually a new Mexican restaurant opening up here. He'll be home on the 22nd. And so they do a cool happy hour of like half-price tequila and $3 tacos. And so I said I would drive him there, and we would go for a Valentine's little dinner late. It can be whatever you want it to be. Stores there are all about Super Bowl snacks. We are making nachos on Sunday. I'm so excited for that. To me, I think that's one of my favorite bar snacks. Nachos. And is something really expensive, actually, to try and eat out. That's feeling like it's almost done. Just to, like, show you guys. Let's check one of them. I'm gonna check this really thick one. I would say, yeah. That's the outer temp. The juices are just starting to run pink. This one is smaller. One thing I will say is duck is a little bit deceiving the way it feels. Because when it shrinks up like that, it really feels like spongy. It's hard to tell how cooked it is in the interior compared to how a steak cooks, rather. The tequila price sounded good. Yeah, it was like half price tequila, even off top shelf. The price of chicken wings this week, Cookie? Probably astronomical. I did see, though, that they had a lot of, like, the bar snacks on sale at this store. I'm gonna let it go just a bit more. Okay. Timer for oven things is going, so I'm gonna have a peep. Ooh, the squash is looking really good. The only thing I'm worried about is the rice. So I'm gonna take it out and have a peek here on this side. I'm assuming it needs 10 more minutes, though. Oh, it smells good. It smells really good. Oh yeah, it's cooking though. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey. Wrap it all back up nice and tight. That is looking so good. Okay, now I'm gonna turn this pan just off for a sec. Dun, na, na, na. Where's this view? Resting time. Oh, and that's the other thing I wanted to do really quick while it's off. Tendy snack! Look how quick these are gonna cook. Duck fat fried tendies? Yes, please. So good. Guys, I killed the roommate. He's snoring on the couch. Hello, warning you. You have good news that you wanted to share? We like good news. And Xylox, I'm doing good. How are you? How was your week? We're just almost finishing up stream. Getting excited for foods. Okay, that should be nice and cooked through. Let me give it one more flick. Just because I seen some juices running out of there. I am going to pour out a lot of this excess duck fat. Also, let's put this thermometer back. But yeah, we're gonna pour out a lot of this excess duck fat. It is usable, so you can save it for cooking something else. We just don't need that much to make the sauce. You can see how much is there. I'm gonna show you in the pan. I probably won't save this batch of fat because I find it gets really hot while we're searing. Sometimes it can taste weird. We'll see though. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of crank this pan now. We're gonna start with our orange juice and let that reduce a bit. Smells so good. You went on a winter holiday today? Where? And what'd you do? That is also true, Mish. Yeah, they shouldn't be snoring if they died. This is what happens to Sam every time too, so now I have to laugh at this. Okay, so the good news. One day we'll have to give an account for our life. Oh, you deserve for our evil. Can you, okay, if you have good news, can you just like not make it around Jesus? Because not everyone in this stream is religious. But thank you for sharing your positive vibes with us today. I will say that. I think I'm gonna get a little spoon just so we can stir some of the fond off of the bottom of the pan. A warning. A warning, Dust, yep. You're just at home now, Xylox? Have a week in Denmark, then you're home for a week? Look at how nice this looks in the pan, by the way. So we're just concentrating the flavor of the orange a little bit. I suppose we could also add our chicken broth now, the little bit that we want, just for like body and maybe some color. Highlighter yellow duck sauce. I just realized that we didn't toast our pumpkin seeds, guys. Should I just throw them in the oven really quick? I mean, the pomegranate syrup part is easy. We didn't toast the pumpkin seeds for the squash. There's a woman at the farmer's market who sells duck products and her fat prices are insane. I know, I forgot to toast them. I think I might just throw them in the oven really quick right now while we're waiting. I was gonna serve them with our roasted squash. They're not really needed for the dish, but I thought that the flavor would be quite nice. Let's see if this even does anything. And so yeah, while we're making our sauce, the duck is just resting. There's like not even really any juices coming out of it. Now I'm like scared that I overcooked it, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna get a spoon and see how this is tasting. It looks like it's reducing pretty good now. Oh yeah. The orange flavor is really nice. And like the little bit of chicken broth. It's got a nice little acidity. I might add a touch of maple syrup at the end if I find that it's too acidic. But then we also know that when we add the butter at the end, that's gonna dilute the acidity as well from the fat. That's why I said we can add sugar at the end, but we'll add the butter first. Okay, we're gonna turn that off. And maybe even just take it off the heat a moment. We'll come this way. I always like to just let it sit a moment before we add the butter. Do you wear wooden shoes? You guys are terrible to each other. I love it. Wow, that color. Let's see what happens here. I think we did it, guys. I think it's gonna stay emulsified. I will admit, every time, well, not every time, there's been times where I've done this, and this sauce has not emulsified together. That looks so good, though. Okay, so we're just gonna put it on the side now. Xylox, getting ready for bed. Well, I hope you have a nice rest. I hear the pumpkin seeds bursting in the oven. Let's see what's going on in here. I know the squash is done. And it actually looks so delicious. There's our squashes. All roasted up, perfect. Soft, but like not falling apart. This rice, I'm very intrigued by. Haha. Pumpkin seeds got toasted in time. Don't even mess with me. I like how I just laugh. Now, the moment of truth. Careful because of the steam, okay? Ah, see? I can't get it. I sealed it up too much. That looks crazy. What the heck? It's like purple. It's purple from the red rice. Like, that's how thin of a layer I made, but holy. So yeah, usually I just mix this all together like this when it's done. That looks so good. I was not expecting that color though. It looks kind of weird, but when we mix it up, it looks better. You never know until you try a product, right? But yeah, that's how it turns out, oven rice. It's seriously the easiest thing ever. Okay, let's slice this duck. We need more light in our lives. Always gets so dark around this time of stream. I turned the board this way because there's probably gonna be juices running. Just need a slicing knife. It's time. Oh, I was like, guys, there's no juices on the plate. There's juices all over the plate. Life is about being able to laugh at yourself. Okay, we're only going to actually cut one right now because that's what I want to eat. Don't cut protein if you don't plan on eating it that same day. It's just going to be better if you don't like mess up the muscle fibers and let all the juices out. So I'll save that one whole for the next day for myself. Hey Wilson, how are you doing today? Welcome in. Okay, and then another thing when we slice our duck is we always go against the grain. Same with how we cut steak and everything else. Thank you, my dude. 27 months in a row. We've had what, 27, 30, 31 months. It's been a wonderful stream. So yeah, going against the grain, I usually start on this side and kind of angle it, almost like with how you scored on that angle. Same thing. And then I will also say it's going to be more rare on this side where it's really thick. And then as we taper towards this end, it's going to get more well done. I did it. I was like so worried about being able to cook duck. Literally every time I cook duck, I get scared. But then I perfectly cook it. Like, this is why you rest your duck. Because those juices are inside. And look at, okay, this layer of the fat versus the crisp. I think we really nailed that one. I honestly, it was hard to get a reading cookie because when I first put my thermometer in, it kind of went through to the other side and said 151. That's why I got really scared. But then I felt it and I was like, well, there's no way it's at 150, right? Because this is more like maybe 140. More like medium. But yeah, as we get towards the center, you could see it gets more rare too. But I would say that's one of the most perfect duck breasts I've ever cooked. I usually just like eat this end piece. I'll cut it like nice and thin because it gets more well done. But even this, to look at this from the end piece. So one thing they talk about in the article is if you have it at too high of a heat at first, you're gonna get that gray lining around the outside of your piece of meat. But if you keep it controlled at one temp, you'll just get, when it's rested, this perfectly cooked almost pink throughout. I will say, eating this, I'm very happy that we just did salt and pepper. One thing with duck fat too, when you fry it, is it tastes really nutty, almost like popcorn. Thank you, Chase. You should put this over here. Okay, so we'll go rice on the bottom of the plate, and then everything else around, and duck kind of on top, and then sauce. Like, I haven't even tried this rice yet. I'm just assuming that everything we put in it is gonna be good. I am trying a squash piece though. Even though that was like a weird squash when we cut it up. Very tasty, I will say. handful of toasted pumpkin seeds for the squash, and I thought it would be nice to eat with the pilaf too, right? Our pomegranate syrup. This one can be hard to find sometimes. Usually like a specialty European market, because this is from Turkey. It's such a nice sweet and sour sauce though. Wow, look at that, juice is running out still. I can kind of fan this out. Like that. This is going into the stock pot. And we just need our sauce. Pop your popcorn in duck fat. I will say I've worked at a restaurant before where we did duck fat popcorn, and it is pretty life-changing. Ready? If I didn't make like a really thick sauce, I wanted it more of like a glaze. Let's see what that adds. I'm okay with it running a bit throughout the dish. I can do more. Now it's photo time. Chat, would you eat this? You gotta tuck that squash in, I think. Or it actually looks nice, not being perfect. I forgot about that command cookie. It's the best. It's done. Still more light. It's like it's so sunny out today. Where is the light in this kitchen? Hello? Like, it seriously looks so dark. I'm confused. I'm quite confused. It might just be from the glaze. Okay, I need a fork. Parsley then, photo? Are those pepitas? Yeah, we sprinkled toasted pepitas with the squash. Because I thought it would go really good with the pilaf as well. Almost like deconstructed it. Okay, now I can turn this down because this is insane. Okay, what do we want to start with? I'm very intrigued by this rice. It tastes exactly like I thought it would taste. And like the texture of wild rice is so nice and chewy. Like it's cooked through, but it has this meaty texture almost. Really nice sweetness though from the veggie base that we put in there. Very like savory and hearty. Okay, let's see how it is with a bit of squash with it. I'm letting the duck absorb the sauce. That and that together. The squash just melts in your mouth. Nice, Mish. That is a very important part of making puttanesca, is making sure you put the capers. You've never had capers before. We can like find them almost at every store here. Capers are really popular in Italy, and there's also a bunch of different sizes. So the smaller the caper, the better quality. The larger the caper, the cheaper and like kind of less quality. Okay, let's go. What do I want here? I think I want this one. Looks like so perfect of a bite. It's like not too big that I have to cut it. Oh, the salt brine one. So they're packed in salt versus the liquid. I don't know if it's just the duck breast, but it's kind of chewy. I will say, when I told Sam that I got a king cold duck, he's like, oh, those aren't as good as like the other brand we get. I was like, what? Maybe that's why. Because it's not like the fat that's chewy, it's the actual like meat a little bit. And like I chose not a very rare piece, like this one's more rare. I'm gonna try from the other side and see if it's a bit different. Because sometimes there's just like a little connective tissue on one side. Kind of like how sometimes you get a sinew throughout your whole steak. Let's see how this one goes. That one's fine. I don't know. Well, actually, we can kind of see it here. You see right there? So I think as it goes through the duck breast, it goes towards that one side where I had it. But yeah, that is why we always try and cut against the grain. Because imagine if we didn't cut against the grain. If this is already chewy, imagine how chewy, like it would almost be unedible. Okay, so let's see if I eat this side with the sinew in it, how it is. Because this could also be the reasons why some people think that they don't like duck, right? Oh, it's like really chewy, other reasons. That's definitely it. I could tell right when I bit down on it. I will say though, the flavor of the duck is still perfect though. And I do like the orange sauce. Look, it just soaked it all up. So I started the stream at 6,999 followers. And we had some follows, or we had one follower today, but we're still at 6,999. I thought we would tick over. Mish, you really, really don't like duck, and you've had it numerous ways. You don't like it. Also, the smell. It could just be a personal preference too, right? That's all there is to it. And yeah, it doesn't matter if you cook it properly or not. There's just some things in life that we don't like to eat. And that's okay. It's like me, don't show me anything like liver-wise. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, kind of like cilantro, but like cilantro is more genetic. That's even different. Okay, sounds good, Mary. I'm happy you were able to be here with us today. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. I'm just gonna go look for us to go raid someone. We finished it up. This was a good 3-hour stream today. I feel like we did learn a lot together. both the butchery and other duck items, the wild rice even. Kim's taste buds are still fried. Will he ever get them back? Okay, what we got here? This could be fun and also very chaotic, but that sounds like a perfect Friday thing at the same time. Chef Nagin is at Universal Studios doing a live stream. Really quick though, I'm just gonna go see who's in food and drink first. I don't know. Potato leek soup? Is that what you made, Bob? You'll be attending Kim's taste bud funeral if they don't come back. We'll hold a vigil on stream. Thank you, Chase. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, we're gonna go see Chef Nagin. She is a chef and food streamer, but right now they're streaming live at Universal Studios. So that could be fun. But like I said, also chaotic. Keep in mind, same with my IRL streams. Sometimes they cut out and the quality is not always perfect. But still, you never know what can happen on an IRL stream, so I always find that they're really fun. Oh, that's how Mish ruined him with potato leek soup? No. Okay, we got it set up. Friends, I hope I inspired you today to cook yourself something delicious. Maybe try a little bit of butchery. You never know. It's not that hard. Not that hard, and it saves you money. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's stream is going to be a lot of fun for me because we're making something from my childhood, which is tuna noodle casserole. Also a budget-friendly meal. I am making it gluten-free though. So stay tuned for that. And we're also making some dessert tomorrow. A berry crisp. Because it's time. I need that. Okay, guys. 11 a.m. Pacific is when we're going to start. I'll also be live on Sunday, too, if you missed tomorrow. We are cooking nachos for Super Bowl. Just in time for Lent. Yes. I once upon a time celebrated that. Okay. Love y'all. Thanks for all the long-term resubs today. 1 new follow. Awesome hype train. I think that's all I got. Take care. Thank you for all the love and spending time with me. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna hit that button. Bye!